Everybody, it's Troy here, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And today we are going to be repotting a Phalaenopsis, and I'm going to be answering two questions that a couple of viewers asked for me. So without further ado, we're going to get into the video. But first, if you could like, comment, share, subscribe, that would be awesome. And we're going to start with the first part, or the first question I had for this video is one of my viewers, and I couldn't find the comment, forgive me for that. It was a question saying, basically, I'm new to growing orchids and I don't really know what pot to choose. What pot should I be putting my orchid in? So the second question is a second viewer is going to repot her Phalaenopsis into lava rock for the first time, and she's never done it. And it's simply, what the heck am I doing? Can you help me, Troy? Absolutely. So the first part is great to know before the second part, right? What pot should I be putting my orchid in? Well, in my collection, the most standard that I have is a terracotta pot, which is awesome because it is porous and it allows air to go through it. And then the second thing is the clay from the terracotta and the lava rock both reflect light. So my orchid, I'm increasing the light that they're getting throughout the day. The second option that you'll find in my collection is a plastic slotted pot, and I put it into a catch pot. It just sits inside the catch pot. Then that way you don't have to look at just a slotted pot when you come into the house. And this helps hold some moisture retention in, so it's not going to have as much airflow as my terracotta pot, and it's going to allow my pot to dry at which I would like it to for my watering schedule. I started a year ago transitioning my orchids from full sphagnum moss setup into lava rock, and that's what we're going to be doing. This is one of my last Phalaenopsis in sphagnum moss, and I would like to get her out of it. And if you look here, we have a new root right there, and that means it's the perfect time. She's a species. She is not like a novelty Phalaenopsis that you're going to get, or one of the multi-floral intergeneric hybrids that you might get. She is a species, and that means she's a little bit more particular. So I really wanted to wait to have new root growth before I repotted this orchid. So I have my new root I've been waiting for. Last night, I started soaking her media. I went ahead and put it into a solution of sea calc and calcium magnesium. So that way she'd be properly hydrated for today. And I just moistened her before this video. I moistened her aerial roots because we want to have all these roots nice and moist to work with. It's going to make them more pliable so that we can get them into the pot with as little damage as possible. And when I pull her out of this pot and I remove all the media, I'm going to actually rinse her root system in my sink. And when I do that, that'll just put some more moisture around these roots. And we are probably going to break some roots, and I hope to goodness we don't snap some root tips, but it is possible. The main goal is we'll want to protect this new root throughout the whole entire repot. All right, guys, and just real quick, the reason why I chose to go into lava rock is because moss has increased in price. And I also saw other collections that were just doing a little bit better than me, and I started paying attention to the media that they were growing in, and it seemed across the board that some people were having some great results in lava rock. And come to find out, it is because when you're growing in lava rock, you have full control over your supplements and your fertilizer. And so therefore, I can always add nutrient solution through my pot. I fertilize and I give supplements at lower parts per million, so that way I can give more nutrients over the course of the year. So with that said, guys, also, we'll come back to the pot real quick. Why I'm choosing the plastic pot is because we're going up in the orchid room, And up there it gets really hot in the summertime, and I couldn't possibly keep up with the watering if everyone was in a terracotta pot. It would just dry out too quickly for me. And so going from sphagnum moss into lava rock, I have learned that I can amend my lava rock with, I can use my lava rock, I can use leca pebbles, and I can use river rock. And these two will help increase the moisture in my pot. Also, if you were to put together the side of the leca pebble and the side of the lava rock, you've got a circle against a square kind of, or a rigid edge. So that way we're going to be allowing a lot of airflow in between, because you're never going to have like two square pieces up against each other, right? So there's going to be some more increased airflow. And that's just food for thought. If maybe you're growing in more of a dry climate, let's say you're in Arizona, right? And you want to use lava rock, but you're like, I couldn't possibly keep up with watering that much. Well, we can amend it and we can increase the moisture. So that's food for thought, as well as the pot. If I was growing in Arizona, I wouldn't want to grow in a terracotta pot in the middle of summertime when my summer's really dry and it's really warm. Just like if I was in Florida in the middle of summertime, it's going to be really hot and humid. Maybe this plastic pot isn't going to work for me because I can't dry my orchid fast enough in between waterings. So that for me is how I've chose my media in my pots, and that's how I'm going to work with it. Because we're in the orchid room, I'm going to amend this, and we're going to have some leca pebbles, and we're going to have some river rock, and we're going to have some lava rock in a plastic pot, and that will keep it so I average about once a week on my watering in the dead of summer. If I were growing this in my bedroom, let's say, there's not as much airflow in there. And my orchids in plastic pots don't dry out as quickly. So in my bedroom, all of my orchids are in the terracotta pots. And with that said, guys, let's get my Shirleyana up out of this pot. Let's look at her root system a little bit. I am a less is more kind of person. I only take off the roots that I absolutely have to. If we're unsure, leave the roots. It is going to be very hard for an orchid to recover if we don't have a root system. If we have roots, awesome. They will pull through. We'll be able to hydrate our orchid. Also, another point I'm going to make is I have my roots wet now. So after I put my orchid into her new pot, into her new media, I'm not going to water it in. She has plenty of moisture in her velamen to hang on to carry her through until I water her next week. And what that allows also to do is my aerial roots have been exposed to the environment, and they are going now into the media, which is a little bit more humid. And I don't want to lose those roots, guys. So what I'm going to do is withhold the watering for a week, let them get into the media, and let them get used to the new media. And then I will, over time, increase my watering until it is normal watering. And I completely apologize, guys. My microphone died, so now I'm doing a voiceover. And right now I am showing, this is a Phalaenopsis that I put into lava rock less than a year ago. And this is the amazing root growth that is coming from having my orchid in lava rock. And I'm now able to fertilize and give more nutrients than I was before in the moss. The moss works like a sponge, and I can't fertilize as much as I could now where I'm in lava rock. I can fertilize and supplement as much as I would like, and as a result, look at the root system that I've developed. I've never had a root system on this particular orchid or many of my orchids the way that I have this beautiful root system now after growing in the lava rock. And I think anybody can grow in lava rock and have the same results as me. So we are going to now get this Shirleyana out of the pot. We are going to rinse the root system on her, and that is going to hydrate the rest of those aerial roots. And now we've done that. So now we're looking at the root system, guys, and that's a nice, beautiful, long root. Look at that. And here underneath, you'll notice some dry roots that need to go. And right here, we have exposure on, let's go ahead. Yeah, these are the dry ones that need to go. That one right there, the root itself is exposed, so the velamin's not even intact anymore. That root also will have to go. And this root, if you look at the very bottom of the root, it would look like it's actually a healthy root. And as you work your way up the root, you'll see that the velamin has decayed, probably as a result of being in moss and overwatering. And then if you go up towards the top there's healthy root for about an inch up to the orchid. So when I make that cut, I will first get rid of all those small roots. And then on that root, I cut up to the healthy tissue. So from the healthy tissue to the orchid, I will leave that. But everything else from the decaying line downwards will go. Remember guys, if you're unsure, if you can't tell that a root is alive or dead, then just go ahead and leave it on there. It's not gonna hurt anything at all. The nice thing about growing in lava rock is it's inert media, okay? It's not gonna break down, it's not gonna decay. So your roots, hopefully, your next repot will be vigorous like that orchid that I just showed you. So in the very bottom, we crock our pot with lava rock, the larger lava rock, and that's gonna increase our airflow at the bottom and allow our pot to dry out better. And as you're working the roots in there, if you kind of twist the orchid around, you can work the roots a lot easier into the pot. You can work them down to the bottom. And I'm gonna hold my orchid in place just a little bit lower to start. And as we go, I will slightly pull my orchid up and tap the sides, and that's gonna work the media down into the pot. And it's also gonna help me to position my orchid exactly where I would like. So I'm gonna let her hang off to the side because that's her nature, and I'm not gonna fight her on it. And if you see, I'm pushing that base down in. So we're going a little bit down lower to begin, but as we fill our pot with our media, we will slowly work that orchid up, lifting her into the spot we would like her in the pot. As you're working with your lava rock, guys, start with larger lava rock pieces on the bottom, using your medium sized lava rock towards the middle, and then finishing the top with your smaller pieces. And this is gonna help drying the pot, and it's also going to help for more air flow at the base of your pot. And I'm working with the leca pebbles and river rock and just alternating between the lava rock and the river rock and the leca pebbles, and just working all that media into the pot and kind of letting it fall wherever. You don't really want to push down too much because you don't want to break any more roots or do any more damage than what we're already doing. Just kind of place it in there, let it fall wherever it does. At the end of getting all of your media in there, what you're gonna do, you can let go of your orchid, by the way. Once you get enough media at the base, or at the very bottom of the pot, you'll be able to let go of your orchid and she will stay in place for you. It's wonderful. And you can see, just reiterating, the larger pieces at the bottom, the medium pieces in the middle, and the smaller pieces at the top. And with the smaller lava rock and leca pebbles and all that at the top of the pot, it's going to bring some humidity at the base of your orchid where the new roots come out. And that's going to help you get new roots into the pot. Just kind of fill around, finish filling. You want to make sure to keep the base of your orchid slightly above that media. You don't want to put your orchid down into the media like a house plant or a garden plant. That would end up suffocating it, and it will bring rot and fungal issues later on. So keep the base of your orchid above that media. We're just using the media to hold the orchid in place. It is nothing more than that. We don't need to overpack the media. If you're using too much media, then you're not going to have enough space for more roots to fill into the pot. And eventually you're going to have to do another repot, or your orchid's going to be suffocating itself. So make it nice, light, and airy. You don't have to get crazy. Don't cram the pot full of media. It's okay to have air pockets. And then holding the base of your orchid, if you pull up slightly and tap the pot while you're doing that, your media is going to fall into place around those roots. And your orchid is going to be exactly where you want it in the pot. If you start up too high, by the end of it, your orchid will be sitting up too high in the pot. And that is going to decrease humidity around the base of the plant, so your new roots are going to struggle to get into the media. And if you look and see how I have her hanging over the side of the pot, that's the Phalaenopsis. That is their natural growth pattern, right? Is they hang on the side of trees, so they naturally just want to be hung over like that. And so I allow mine to. I'm not going to fight the situation. When I first got this plant, she was sitting far more upright in her pot. And now I allow her to go over the edge. That's the way she wants to grow. And I'm okay with it. And just kind of fill in around, guys. If you see some spaces, you can put some media in there. Again, we're just trying to hold the orchid into place. If I had it my way, I would mount all of my orchids, but my collection is far too large to be mounting that many orchids. And so that's why I pot my orchids up. Look. Still have a couple of spaces that we could put some smaller pieces of lava rock in. But for the most part, that's it. You've got your roots into the pot. We've got the air circulation. Now, what I would recommend doing at this point is we've already soaked our orchid prior, is don't water that orchid. Just let her aerial roots get used to being in the pot, because we just went from a more dry environment and now we're raising that humidity on the aerial roots. So let them go ahead and get accustomed to being in the pot. But that's it, guys. That's all there is to repotting your Phalaenopsis and lava rock. I hope that everybody tries it. If you do, let me know how it goes for you. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And I really appreciate you guys stopping by and doing this repot with me. Thank you all for being here, and take care, guys.